persist or give up. Stop playing with the Spirit of God within you. Okay? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Literally. Because in order for you to come back here, this life has to end, and then you start all over again, and you don't even remember if you were here previously. Some of us have been here for thousands of years, but we don't know, we don't remember. Some of us, have been looping in this life cycle for years, living the same nightmares. But the trick you have to understand and remember is that you want to be here and get it all right so that you can ascend to your highest dimension. We here in the 3D dimension is the lowest dimension. The best dimension to be is to be seated at the right hand side of God, which is the 12th dimension, whatever dimension that is, right? The densest dimension is this here on this planet here. Now, if you're going to loop back into this dimension every single lifetime, you're joking around. You really are. So you either persist into ascending into your highest self while you're here, or you just come back and live the same nightmares of unable to pay your bills, unable to really be in the right relationship or the desired reality, the house that you want, the dream life that you want, the children, everything like that. I'm realizing that I've been joking around with the Spirit of God within me. God gave me a gift to come here to learn everything that I need to learn, to remember who I am so that I can ascend back to my true identity. But I'm playing games. Those who understand this game very well, you know what they do? They enslave others. They make them work for them. They amass wealth, fortunes. They live, as gods here on this planet. And then the secrets that they know, they do not share it with you or me, right? And the next thing before I get into that, do you realize that the people with the most money, they're not usually the best people? Why do you think that is? Do you think that life, has a preference? Like you have to be this good, angel in order for you to ascend? No, it's all about who knows who they are. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're here for? What is the lessons? Why are you repeating the same mistakes, the same lessons, and you're wondering why you are always in the same type of relationship? Because you're not learning the lesson. You're playing with your spirit. For years, they make people believe, that voodoo is this evil shit, right? It's this black magic, It's like, oh my God, do not even think about it. It is this evil, blood sacrificing, blood drinking thing. But what they're not telling you that it is metaphysical, because we are a metaphysical being. And, the most important trait that we need to embody is to learn how to live in the unseen, because everything that we acquire here in this dimension happens in the unseen. It happens in spirit first, and then you see it here, because we are spirits first. So this is the reason why there's a huge bridge. Well, it's not huge so much anymore, but there is a bridge between science and spirituality, and it's getting smaller and smaller. What science cannot understand, spirituality understands, and what spirituality doesn't understand, or has a difficulty to explain to some minds, they go into science in order to understand it. But at the end of the day, they're all saying the same thing. Metaphysical beings. This is the bridge, and it's getting smaller and smaller. You are a metaphysical being. I am a metaphysical being. If you close your eyes right now, you imagine something, guess what? You can instantly get that. Now, the difference is that between you and some other people, between you and some other people, is the fact that when they close their eyes, some people, they believe automatically that whatever they just saw in the theater of their mind, it is already in their hands, because that's what manifestation means anyway. It's a Latin word, mana feasting, right? Feast, meaning that hand, right? So you're literally receiving your desires in your hand. and the feast happens within, right? But I added that. But mana, which means hands, is having your desire in your hand. So some people, as soon as they close their eyes, they imagine their desires and they believe automatically it's already in their hands. And then some other people, even if they close their eyes, they still do not believe that it is in their hand. So if you don't believe it's in your hand already, how are you going to get your manifestation? Even the Bible says it. Again, like I said, some things are going to be understood through spirituality, through religion. I don't like to say religion, but let's say the Bible, right? Some things you're going to understand through the Bible. So in the Bible, I believe it's in Matthew. I don't know which one because I'm not an avid reader of the Bible, but Jesus says this. He says that whatever you believe, that you have already received, it's already done. So it's the same thing. If you close your eyes, you already believe that it's in your hand, then it's done. Some people, they don't believe it's in their hand. Even when they close their eyes, even if they imagine it, they don't believe that it is done. And then also you have other people that do not persist. It's what I've said in the beginning. You have to persist and persist. You persist, you advance it through the dimensions, you break through those dimensions, the hard and dense dimensions, in order to get what you just imagine in the theater of your mind. It is that simple. Yes, it is easier said than done. I'm not gonna lie to you, but we need practice, because we are not, believe it or not, I'm going to say this and hear me out. We are not very well trained in being humans. This is why we falter so much. This is why we fail so much. We are gods learning how to be human beings. We fail at being human beings. We're better at being gods. But the thing is that you forgot that you are a god having a human experience. So you think that you're failing at being God, when in fact you're failing at being a human being, because we were never trained for it. We came here for the lesson. That's why it's so freaking hard, because we don't know how to be that. But we know who we are, but some of us, we forget. So I just want you to remember this. Listen, I'm at home constantly working. Okay, I had candles to make today, so I'm looking like a hot mess, and I don't care. But whenever I feel inspired, I like to share the messages, and this message came to me. You got to persist. Stop playing games with your spirit. Okay, it is a God-given gift for you to come here, because you choose to train as a human being. You want to live this experience. You want to know what it feels like to be a human being, but you don't know how to do it. You just come here and you learning. You're going through the trials and the tribulations. I've said in a previous video that we often are detached from our true being, from that spirit being. Now, it is not a bad thing. It's just that we need that, it's like, like you're trying to fit a Lego, or, those, what is those things like, okay, Legos, right? We're trying to fit the pieces. Once that clicks, then, it's, you have a finished product, right? This is all it is. You need to click that spirit with the body, and once that happens, everything goes smoothly for you. So just remember that you are God having a human experience. You are learning to be human. You're not learning to be a God. Erase that. Okay, persist in the fact that you're a God, and that you have been given a gift, spiritual gift, to come here to learn what it's like to be a human. It's not easy, because like I said, it's a dense world. I've made a video where I talk about dreams. In dreams, we think that when we're in dreams, okay, you think that it's reality. For instance, you're running in a dream. Do you think in your dream you can run? What always happens? It's not just me. This is not a psychological, personal thing. It is what is the experience of everyone when they dream. When you're trying to run in your dream, you freaking are heavy. You cannot run, because you think that the dream is the same as reality. Reality is dance. The dream is not. That's why it's easier for you to fly in your dream. So you fly in your dream, because that's truly who you are. So it's lighter for you. That dimension is lighter for you. Everything happens right away. When you close your eyes, you imagine it happens within a flash, right? Because that's the true. This is our truth. This is who we are. Spirit. So this spirit here comes here to have this human experience in this dense, heavy world. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but you're not persisting. You got to persist, and do not take this for granted. Learn everything that you need to learn. Freaking master whatever you can master. Recently, they're talking about Michael Jackson, who says that I'm going to master being MJ. I'm going to be the most beautiful and everything. Listen, this guy knew what's up. He knew that he came here in a once in a lifetime opportunity, and he didn't want to mess up. He said, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. So now he remembered that he's a god having a human experience. But other humans, other gods who came here as humans, who became, treacherous human beings, effed it up for him. Poor guy. He was an angel. Truly, he had a lot of love in him. That's why his aura was so beautiful and so magnetic and so big. Some other ones who believe that, they're here and they're going to play the role of a human at the lowest possible dimension that they can get, even lower than the 3D, they freaking mess it up for themselves and for other people. But remember, you're not the human, you are the God. So once you remember that, everything will become easier for you. So persist in that knowing and you'll have everything. Stay in that dimension. As much as it tries to pull you back, those are the false identities, the false gods that are pulling you into that freaking dance identity, reality or dimension. Persist in the higher dimensions, and this is who you truly are. My name is Kati. This is the Metaphysical Wolf. Thank you for watching. God bless you. See you until next time.